That one bullshit PlayStation trophy.
To celebrate over 200 episodes of that one BS PlayStation trophy, I've been looking back at some of the biggest episodes of the show to see if those really annoying, grindy, tedious and downright rage-inducing BS trophies have improved, or are they still BS, or have they now been fixed? So let's continue our look in part 2.
Fall Guys was the star of episode 47, and it was of course the infallible trophy, which required you to win 5 games in a row, which is obviously utter BS, as winning just one match was tough, let alone 5 in a row. What the hell were they thinking there? It really did seem impossible at the time, and sure, while some people did manage to get it, for me this was just a trophy way out of my reach, and I'm sure a lot of other people who played this game felt the same. It was just a pure RNG based trophy, as it all came down to a variety of things like who you matched online with, the games you were coming up and playing on, the physics of the game itself behaving themselves in matches when you try to run and jump through the assault courses. So there was just so many factors that really made this such a tough trophy, and having to win 5 in a row was just sadistic in my opinion. Fast forward to 2023, and thankfully the trophy is now a little bit easier these days, thanks to a new team mode that they added, which allows you to enter into these Takeshi's Castle style game shows with a team of 4, which meant that you now have another 3 people in this 100-player match that would help you get the trophy. Now, even with that, I would still say it's a very tough trophy to get, because getting 5 wins in a row is definitely hard, but as a team it is a little bit more doable. So for that reason, I am more inclined to give it a fresh rating, because the trophy has improved, though it's still gonna be really tough to do. Next up we have the Long Haul Trophy from Sonic Colors, and this trophy isn't really that difficult, since this egg shuttle mission mode in the game features checkpoints and no lives, so you can't actually get a game over. The only thing you need to go in with it prepared for is to play through the entire game in one sitting, so you need to make sure you set enough time aside to do all this, because you need to complete all 45 of the acts in one go. You can't just save and quit out at any point. But the real problem with this trophy wasn't that you had to beat them all in one go, it was that it would likely take you about 1.5 hours to 2 hours to complete, and the problem was that this mode was prone to crashing at any point, ruining a potentially long run and forcing you to start over again.
Congratulations! You found a bug. Be sure to fill out your bug report and submit it to the front desk at the amusement park. We here at Eggman Industries value your feedback to help us make a better, more deadlier park for all those pesky hedgehogs. Thank you.
And for me, it always seemed to happen during one of the Sweet Mountain acts. And looking back at it now, I can't see anywhere online that there was a patch released that specifically said that it fixed this egg shuttle crash issue in its patch notes. However, multiple patches for Sonic Colors did come out, and most of them did say they were improving stability, so hopefully it's better now. But as a caution, I am still saying it's BS. I really didn't enjoy the platinum journey of Watch Dogs Legion, because, well, I didn't really enjoy playing Watch Dogs Legion, as I just felt it was a really bad game, and in episode 71 of the show, I did not hold back when it came to the Fresh Fred Silver Trophy for spending 100,000 ETO on clothes in the shops throughout the city. Now, this was just an absolute grind, and it was no easy task, as in Watch Dogs Legion, the game is just so stingy when it comes to rewarding you with ETO, which is just the currency the game uses. And while you could get it in a variety of ways, from collectibles that you can pick up in the open world, missions, and safes that you can open up in bars and things like that, each one of these ways of getting money would always reward you with just such low, stingy amounts. Worse still, on top of all that annoying grind that you've got to do to get 100,000, the trophy was actually bugged, because if you spent that 100,000 ETO across multiple different characters and clothes, it wouldn't actually count. You'd have to spend even more, because it had to be 100,000 ETO spent on clothes as a single character. Now, bear in mind, the trophy description did not say that at all and make that clear at all. And also remember that Watch Dogs Legion is a game that encourages you to recruit loads of different people to your cause, and it also encourages you as a game to swap between these characters to use their different abilities to help you get through different missions. So you're always encouraged to play as different characters, so you're always going to be spending your money as different characters, and this for me was just unforgivable. The fact that it just forced you to spend the time as one character and didn't count any money spent with multiple characters was just insane. I can't believe they didn't see that. What a massive oversight by Ubisoft. And believe it or not, I don't think they've actually ever patched this. So hopefully you're spending all your ETO as just one character and not spending 10 grand on one, 10 grand on another, 50 grand on another, and so on, because boy, you're going to be in for an even longer grind to get even more money to unlock the Fresh Threads trophy. What an annoying trophy this was for a really annoying game to play. So for me, this Fresh Threads trophy in Watch Dogs Legion is 100% still BS. The Gone in 60 Seconds trophy required you to steal 200 cars in the game American Fugitive, and as this was an old school GTA styled game, you would think that would be easy. After all, you do play as a criminal. But after finishing the game, I still had a long, tedious grind to steal enough cars to get this trophy. I definitely feel like the number is way too high, and when cars in the dealership and courier don't count, it's still really annoying, as ordering a car from them to just get it delivered to you was far easier than running around and trying to steal a car and risk a car chase with the police, which could then result in you getting arrested or dying. However, this was a special video for me, as Fallen Tree Games, the developer of American Fugitive, actually commented on my video, and that's the first and pretty much only time that has ever happened to me, stating that maybe they did set this a little high. So you'd think that maybe they would have patched it as a result, because this was before they did that update with the DLC, so they had enough chance to actually change this requirement. But sadly, in 2023, it's still set to 200 cars. So while this isn't as bad as some of the others in this video, I'd still say it was BS, as it was never changed, and you will have a bit of a grind for this after you complete the game, because like I said, you just won't always be stealing that many cars as you go from mission to mission. But hey, the devs commented, and that for me was cool enough. Dirt 5 from Codemasters, those so-called genius at play, was absolutely terrible at launch, because the Platinum Trophy was unobtainable due to about 5 glitched trophies that just wouldn't unlock, and it took Codemasters ages to get all of these trophies fixed, allowing me and everyone else to earn them and the Platinum, because they released multiple patches that just failed to fix these trophies, and in some cases they made the game even worse. I'm sure you couldn't even boot it up at one point. So yeah, this one was just terrible, and I won't really say much more about these because I've covered this game multiple times on this show, so just watch those episodes for the full Dirt 5 saga. But yeah, eventually these trophies were fixed, so this one is no longer BS and it has to have a fresh rating. This next one is from episode 165, which focused on the Hellroyd Trophy from Modern Warfare 2, which required you to get 3 stars in the Denied Area mission, which meant that you had to beat it in under 16 minutes. And this was one of those like spec up missions where it was you and another person online going through the mission to try and do it as quick as possible and get that 3-star rating. And to be honest, in my opinion, there is just not enough time to 3 stars this, especially when just playing it solo, as you'll definitely need a partner with you so that you can split up and go to different SAM sites towards the end of the mission in order to beat it all in time. This was a really annoying one to get and very frustrating due to the partners I was matching up with online, because I was often playing with strangers who didn't really know what they were doing, were just playing it for fun and weren't necessarily going for the trophy, so they weren't rushing through it as fast as I wanted them to. It's no secret that I hate multiplayer trophies because I want trophies to be my own thing. I want to earn them by my own skill, not the skills of other players that have helped me to get them. So this one was just really frustrating because the other missions weren't as bad as this because I could do them on my own, whereas this one I just couldn't ever beat it solo, so I definitely needed a partner with me, and it did take multiple attempts over several nights before I finally got this one. But what's it like almost a year after the game came out? Well, it's still the same. This hasn't changed at all. The mission is still exactly the same. You still have the same time requirement for 3 stars. So for that reason, I still think this deserves its BS rating. The Tactical Challenger Trophy from Vanquish featured in episode 27 of the show, and way back when this game first came out on the PS3, the Tactical Challenger Trophy for beating Challenge 6 of the Challenge mode was the hardest trophy that I had ever earned. It took me weeks of practice to beat Challenge 6, and it took me a few weeks to beat Challenges 1 to 5, as they were really tough as well. And when I finally beat those 2 bogeys at the end of Challenge 6 and got the Tactical Challenger Trophy, I stood up and cried tears of joy, and I just basically had a huge sense of relief that this nightmare trophy was finally over, and I would eventually now have my platinum trophy, because this single trophy made the platinum journey a 10 out of 10, and if it wasn't for this single trophy, the game's platinum difficulty would easily be a 5 out of 10. And while in 2023 this trophy is still the same on the PS3 version and the remastered version for PlayStation 4, this BS rating needs to change, because it should be a fresh one, because the challenges are now a piece of cake thanks to an infinite EMP nade glitch, which basically allows you to stun lock all of the enemies and easily kill them. And it honestly just makes this entire trophy an absolute joke, because it's just such a cakewalk. It's so simple to just keep stun locking them all and just freely shoot them all and just keep throwing grenades. I really wish I knew about this when I played the PS3 version back in the day, as it would have saved me heaps of trouble, grief and stress trying to beat this legitimately. So yeah, the Tactical Challenger Trophy definitely gets a fresh rating now, but only if you're using this glitch, because otherwise it is still BS doing it the normal way. Wolfenstein Youngblood was a disappointing misstep for the franchise, and in episode 35 of the show I took a look at 2 really annoying trophies in the game: Gearhead for obtaining all of the weapon upgrades, and the One Woman Army trophy for getting level 10 mastery with all of the game's weapons. And getting these two trophies was an absolute tedious grind. It was such a slugfest to try and level up these weapons because you just had to kill so many enemies just for them to slightly go and level up, and earning enough of the credits to actually buy all of the upgrades was also difficult as well, because the game was just really stingy with the amount that it would award you. And when all the enemies have different perks that go against certain ammo types of certain weapons, you're constantly swapping out your weapons anyway, so you're not getting to level up the gun that you want all of the time when you go through a level. These two trophies really did ruin the platinum journey in Wolfenstein Youngblood, because it wasn't that great to begin with, but this just made it a awful, tedious, repetitive slog to get through. And by the time I'd gotten the platinum and these trophies, I was just relieved that it was over. So looking back at this game in 2023, it doesn't really seem like anything's changed in the years since its release. There was a patch really early on in the game's life to make this less of a grind and change how the weapons and ammo worked, but even then it was still a bad, long and tedious experience to level up these guns and get all the upgrades. It's a lot worse if you just play it solo, but saying that, it is still a tremendous grind in multiplayer to unlock all the abilities and max everything out. This game kinda sucked, and its trophies are still BS. The 3 legendary cars trophy in Gran Turismo 7 was absolutely awful. There were so many problems with this trophy, from its vague description to the pay-to-win nature of the game and the prices of the legendary cars. It took players months to uncover just what 3 cars actually counted for this trophy, and earning enough credits to be able to buy them all from the legendary car dealership was such a grind. Polyphony Digital did listen to fan complaints, and over time they have added things to make this easier to get. Prices changed, cash payouts increased, and you could even sell purchased cars in the dealership to earn more money. However, there are still multiple problems with this trophy. The cars rotate through the dealership still, so if you miss one of those, you may have to wait days, weeks, or maybe even months for it to come back in stock. The trophy description still doesn't explicitly tell you what 3 cars you need to buy, and other cars in the dealership still have that legendary marker on them to make it confusing if you're not looking it up online and knowing exactly which ones you need to get. I'm also pretty certain that the prices for the 3 cars have increased as well, which is obviously BS. Currently, the Ford Mark IV race car costs 6.7 million credits, the Jaguar XJ13 costs 12 million credits, and finally the Ferrari 330 P4 will set you back 9.5 million credits for a total cost of over 28.2 million credits just to buy these 3 cars and unlock the trophy. And for me, that makes this one still BS. What an awful trophy this was. And finally, we are gonna go back to where this show began, with episode 1 and the trophy that started it all. It is, of course, the Owner Trophy from World War Z. Now, this one was just a really annoying trophy, as it required you to capture a control point in a multiplayer match and hold it for the duration of that 15-minute battle. You couldn't lose it at any point or let it be overrun by zombies. It didn't matter if you just lost it for a second and instantly got it back. You had to control that for the duration of the match. As soon as you control it, you can't then stop controlling it. you have to have it all the way through, otherwise you won't get that trophy. And for me, this really was BS, and checking it again in 2023, well, sadly for those who don't have it yet, this trophy is still BS, as they didn't alter this one or anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the video I suggested a really good idea to what it should have been.
Why, oh why did they think this was a good idea? A better trophy would have been to capture all of the points within a match, but it didn't matter if you'd lost them. Or maybe have it so that you need to hold a point for the majority of the match instead. You know, so if I have it for 5 minutes and the enemy team only controls it for 1 minute, I'd still get it. I think that would have worked much better.
I think that would have made for a much better trophy, but sadly they didn't do it. So this one deserves its BS rating, but to be honest, I am glad it's like this, because this was the trophy that inspired this whole series. So if I hadn't played this game and came across this trophy, this show might never have happened.